Have you heard? It's truck news.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel, electricity, and on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh, oh.
It's the Truck Show with your host, Holman.
This episode of the Truck Show podcast, Have You Heard?, is proudly presented by Nissan. Nissan has the right truck or family hauler for your needs, along with legendary Nissan durability. Test drive a Frontier or Armada at a local dealer today, or point your browser to nissanusa.com, where you can use the build and price tool to configure a Nissan that fits your lifestyle. And if you love your truck as much as we love ours, then why not give it the best lubricants money can buy? A pioneer in synthetic lubricants for more than 50 years, AMSOIL products deliver wear protection, engine cleanliness, and fuel efficiency that conventional oils simply can't match. Whether you need oil, lube, grease, transmission fluid, car care products, filters, or even complete oil change kits, you'll find everything you need at AMSOIL.com. EGR USA is your one-stop shop for quality and well-thought-out truck accessories. For over 50 years, EGR has been the leader in truck accessories. Products such as the innovative and adventure-ready roll-track tonneau cover that is designed to turn your truck bed into a secured and sealed space. The roll-track gives you instant access to your truck bed by sliding out of the way. EGR's catalog also includes flares, LED lights, rain guards, bug deflectors, sports bars, and more. Head over to egrusa.com today to find out what accessories they have for your truck. If you're a truck guy, then you're definitely a knife guy, and you should have a Kershaw in your pocket. All Kershaw knives, regardless of price point, come with a limited lifetime warranty and lifetime sharpening. Repair parts such as pocket clips, screws, and springs are readily available through the website, and the Kershaw lineup has everything from EDC knives that can be used and abused for under $50 all the way up to high-end collectibles. Thanks to our generous partnership with Kershaw Knives, Truck Show podcast listeners can get 40% off MSRP and free shipping over $50 by using the code 25TSP40 at checkout on the Kershaw.kaiusa.com website. When it comes to amazing adventure content, how-tos, and great storytelling, only one brand is doing it right in the print magazine space, and that's OVR Outdoor Vehicle Recreation. OVR is about getting out there in our vehicles to explore and discover the world around us. Get complimentary access for a year to the digital library or a discount on your print subscription today at ovrmag.com. Use the promotional code at Truck Show Podcast. Please support the Truck Show Podcast today by patronizing our sponsors. Have you heard? So it sounds like our friends over at Ram are finally going to get that midsize pickup truck that they've been asking for. In previous episodes, we talked about how Tim Kuniskis, the CEO of Ram, was talking about how bad he wants a midsize truck. And just this week, it was confirmed by the United Auto Workers that the Belvidere plant in Illinois, which was shuttered, will be the place where the new midsize pickup truck is built at. And that particular truck is going to serve a great purpose because Ram has nothing below the 1500 here in the U.S. When asked if it was a body-on-frame or a unibody truck, Tim Kuniskis said that he saw no difference between the two in the eyes of the consumer. So to us, that sounds like he's setting us up for potentially a unibody truck to compete more with the Maverick than a body-on-frame to compete with the Ranger. However, the Stella platform is flexible enough to accommodate a mid-size pickup truck. But we do know that Ram has a pretty good unibody truck in international markets. So what are we going to get? I guess we will have to wait to find out. Sounds like it would be a 27 model year, and we'd probably see it by the end of 2026. So for those of you listening to the Truck Show Podcast overseas and really craving that Tesla Cybertruck in your neck of the woods, beware. According to The Independent, which is a British online news site, recently an owner was driving a illegally imported Cybertruck through England when the Greater Manchester Police saw it, pulled it over, and told the owner, hey, you can't have this here in the UK, as the Tesla Cybertruck is not road legal in the UK and does not hold a certificate of conformity. So apparently it was then seized, sadly. So for those of you who are curious, a certificate of conformity is a quote-unquote paper document issued by the manufacturer of a vehicle to ensure the free movement of goods between EU countries, meaning that the vehicle complies with the relevant safety and environmental regulations and can be registered. Obviously, the Tesla Cybertruck is not sold overseas, so it is not approved for road use there. And since an owner can't get one of those certificates, it can't be driven. So now the owner is going to have to provide proof of ownership and correct the insurance, which apparently was insured overseas, which is a big no-no. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but my guess is the Cybertruck is going away, and I don't know if they will seize it and take it from him forever, but it's not a good look. For those of you who have been keeping score, you know that Ineos stopped the Grenadier production back in September after Recaro Automotive stopped production in July because of their own bankruptcy issues. And Italian seat manufacturer Proma Group took over Recaro, and then they restarted production. So the good news is that if you've been waiting for your Ineos Grenadier or Grenadier Quartermaster pickup truck, it is now back in production. And there should be a fresh supply of Ineos vehicles here in the U.S., and Lynn Calder, Ineos' CEO, said that, quote-unquote, this is a great start to the year for us, one I strongly believe will be our best year yet, and will build on more than 40% growth year over year that we achieved in 2024. So that's good news for Ineos. In sad news for EV startup Canoo, they filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy and will be ceasing all operations immediately. If you remember, Canoo was the funky startup that had the lifestyle van, the kind of cab-forward pickup truck. They did deliver some vehicles, but it just wasn't enough for their cash flow. And with the U.S. Department of Energy declining to back any loans from the startup through its loan guarantee program, which supports manufacturing loans for clean energy vehicles, there was not really a path forward. And even foreign investors they talked with, they decided not to finance it either. So that put Canoo in a precarious situation and put them out of business. And it's kind of sad because there was a really cool take on adventure vehicles. It kind of looked like the Toyota Previa if you were to make a pickup truck out of it. Chairman and CEO Tony Aquila remarked that he was truly disappointed that things turned out as they did. And Tony, we're with you on that. We were sad to see that too because the Canoo was something that, at least from a styling standpoint, looked completely different. And we were looking forward to getting to know the brand better. And no, we never had Canoo on the Truck Show podcast, but it was not for a lack of trying. We did reach out. In other news from the internet, Land Rover's Defender EV sounds like it will not be coming until the vehicle gets its new platform. Unfortunately, because the current ICE Defender was never really designed for a EV variant, there's no way to fit a big enough battery in the current chassis to make it feasible. Looks like it'll be sticking with internal combustion for the time being, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Fortunately for all you Defender fans out there, you can get anything from a plug-in hybrid 4-cylinder to a 5-liter supercharged V8, and even give you the Defender Octa, which is a BMW twin-turbo V8. If you love internal combustion engines and you love Land Rovers, it looks like they'll have something for you for some time to come. And speaking of the Defender Octa, it sounds like the Octa model, which is again a 4.4-liter twin-turbocharged BMW V8, makes 626 horsepower and will serve as the foundation for a new Defender Rally Raid vehicle developed by a JLR Works team for the 2026 World Rally Raid Championship, basically Dakar. We saw a lot of Land Rover folks out there observing the race while we were there, so I'm not surprised to hear this news. Their executives were hanging out along the side of the race course, and you can tell they were up to something. So now we know what that something is. For those of you who have always dreamt of driving the Wienermobile but just couldn't find a way in, the Planters Nutmobile, which is a GM-based giant peanut, has opened up a application process for 2025, and it's looking for a team of aspiring individuals for a 12-month tour of duty as peanutters. They say they are thrilled to announce that applications are now open for their 4th class of peanutters, and as energetic ambassadors of the brand, our peanutters travel the country spreading smiles and joy to millions of people. a year. There's actually a few positions available. All are full-time with benefits. According to the application, pay starts at $45,000 for the year with lots of travel as peanutters attend over 200 events per year. So the Planters Nutmobile dates all the way back to 1935. It's actually a year before the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Like the Wienermobile, it's evolved through the years. Current model entered service back in 2018. It's based on a GM chassis cab platform with a 6-liter Vortec V8. And Planters tells us it has gull-wing doors, leather seats, and weighs the same as 3 million peanuts. So, that's about 13,000 pounds. So if you're curious, head over to the Planters website and check out the job application. And please, if you get the job, we have to interview you on the Truck Show podcast. Oh no, Chevy fans. It sounds like NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, is looking at 877,000 GM trucks and SUVs with the very beloved 6.2-liter V8 engine because of failures. Now, it's not a recall yet. They've just opened an investigation after nearly 40 GM truck owners have reported engine failures. So stay tuned on that. I'm sure NHTSA wants to hear from you if you were one of those folks who had that issue. As you know, the Chevy small block, 5.3, 6-liter, and 6.2 engines have all been pretty reliable. Hopefully, GM will work with NHTSA, figure out what's wrong, and make it right for any owners, because the 6.2 is an engine that we really love a lot. For those of you who are Chevy Colorado fans, you may notice the small change on the 2025 models, and that's the addition of the TurboMax badge to the hood, just like on the Silverado. The TurboMax is the 2.7-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder L3B gas engine. It's rated at 310 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque, and it's paired with the GM 8-speed automatic transmission. But when you see TurboMax and you wonder what is that, that is the 2.7-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Ford CEO Jim Farley is back in the news, and it's because he says that rule number 1 going forward is no boring products. And he let everybody know at the recent Detroit Auto Show that he does not make shampoo. And also said that they want to be known as the Porsche of off-roading. And unlike other manufacturers, Farley has pledged to keep the V8 alive as long as possible. So seems like he is channeling the enthusiasts and saying all the things that they want to hear. And I think you can expect more Raptor sub-brands from different vehicles going forward. Apparently, Ford's off-road inspired vehicles accounted for 20% of its approximately 2 million sales in 2024. So that's about 400,000 units. And Ford's Vice President of Advanced Product Development, Jim Bombick, says, quote, unquote, "We're not trying to make toasters on wheels. We're not trying to make just commodity products. It's all about emotions." So if you're a Ford fan, looks like Ford has your back, and there's going to be a big effort to make sure that there are compelling products coming out of the manufacturer. Our friend Caleb Jacobs over at The Drive recently dropped a story online about Ford's 7.3-liter Godzilla, specifically a bored-out 472 cubic inch Godzilla built by Willis Performance, which made 984 horsepower at 8,000 RPM on the engine dyno, and it did that without any forced induction at all. It uses Vizsner Engine Development Stage 3 Plus heads, billet intake manifold. Anyway, if you want to find out more, head over to The Drive, and the article that Caleb wrote is Ford Godzilla V8 knocks on the door of 1,000 horsepower without boost or nitrous. It's actually a really cool article. It might be something for us to follow up on and see if we can get an interview with these guys, because it sounds super cool. So head over to The Drive and give our buddy Caleb a read. For those of you who have been waiting for the upcoming Ram 1500 REV electric truck, sounds like they're going to be killing the larger 229 kilowatt hour battery, which was the 500 mile range battery. So the electric Ram 1500 REV will only get the 168 kilowatt hour battery. Of course, estimates are somewhere around 3 to 350. Compared that to 500 for the bigger battery. And I think the reason for that is because there's been so much demand for the Ram Charger, which is the extended range one, which should give about 690 miles of range. So it sounds like the powers that be over at Ram They feel like the extended range battery only truck was way too close to the Ramcharger and they needed a little bit of separation. So that would be my guess as to why they did that. So it sounds like if you want a battery truck, you're going to be able to get about 350 or so miles. And if you want the range extender, you'll get pretty close to 700 miles. So for comparison, the F-150 Lightning Flash has a 131 kilowatt hour battery, while the Chevrolet Silverado EV LT extended range has a battery capacity of 180 kilowatt hours for its bigger battery and a range of 408 miles. So kind of see everybody's still trying to figure out where their trucks fit and what the right mileage and range is for a pickup in the electric space. So it might take a while for all that to settle out as more competition gets in there and they get some customer feedback. For me, it just seems like, depending on price, which probably isn't going to be cheap, still loving that Ramcharger extended range with the gas generator on board. I just think that if it's implemented right, that makes the most sense, and it allows you to use the infrastructure from two different places, gas or electric. Especially in the truck space, when you need to do truck things and you need to tow and haul, extended range with a onboard generator really makes a lot of sense. In the meantime, if you've been waiting for the Ram 1500 Rev, sounds like you're going to have to settle for that 168 kilowatt hour battery. In a win for consumers, the feds have banned Banhammer General Motors from selling your data. So according to the Federal Trade Commission, GM will not be able to sell your data for 5 years after their allegations came out of how they were handling data through OnStar. So according to FTC Chair Lena M. Khan, she said in a statement announcing the consent agreement, quote unquote, GM monitored and sold people's precise geolocation data and driver behavior information sometimes as often as every 3 seconds. With this action, the FTC is safeguarding Americans' privacy and protecting people from unchecked surveillance. The automaker has already made several changes to its data policies, and after the New York Times reported GM was sharing data, it unenrolled all of its customers in April of 2024 from its Smart Driver program. And it also ended its relationship with a company called LexisNexis as well as Verisk. So apparently, according to the FTC allegations, not only did they fail to inform consumers about the data they're collecting and what it included, like speeding and hard braking, but they were selling that to the insurance companies, which they turned around and used it to raise rates. So for those of you who expect privacy, this is a huge win. A lot of people don't buy new cars thinking that they're going to be spied on and all their movements are going to be recorded and sold. Only manufacturer that I'm aware of that has affirmatively said they will not be selling your data is Scout, and they're not even out yet. And I don't know how pervasive this is in the automotive industry, but my guess is every manufacturer is selling your data in some form or another. So it's one more consideration as we move into modern cars, is just what consumers are willing to accept to have the luxury and the features of a modern car. It seems like there's a lot of drawbacks that come with over-the-air updates. We've talked about that before, and privacy, and at some point we'd love to get an expert on to talk about data privacy in new vehicles, because I think that would be a great topic to follow up on. So according to Consumer Reports relying on data from TrueCar, they've identified the 10 models in 2024 that people have spent the most amount over sticker, an average of an 8% premium for the following 10 vehicles. And if you want one of these vehicles, these are the hottest ones on the market right now, and you're probably not going to get a deal. That includes the Toyota GR86, the Toyota Grand Highlander, the Toyota BZ4X, which I'm actually surprised about that because when I was shopping for my Nissan Ariya, they were giving those things away on crazy lease deals. So that I find a little bit suspect. Now we get into some of our vehicles. GMC Sierra, no surprise there. Toyota 4Runner, that's the old model, so a little bit surprising. Ford Maverick, not surprising at all. Ford Mustang Mach-E, that is surprising because there have been a lot of lease deals on that, so I find that kind of suspect. Ford F-150, probably the Raptor models skew that up for Ford. Ford Bronco Sport, that's another one based on the same platform as the Maverick, and then the regular Ford Bronco. Most of those being sold at premium. So that'll do it for this episode of the Truck Show Podcast. Have you heard? We'll look forward to seeing you next week.
The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis, hosted by Sean Holman, and uses production elements by DJ Omar Khan and Jay Tillis. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and leave us a 5-star review. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to support the show than by sharing it and patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.